Well, good morning, everybody. Today we will see the remaining part of demography profile of rural markets. They are socio-economic position of the rural market, low literacy level, low standard of living, rural employment pattern, potentiality in rural market with respect to large population, growth of market, and then the evolution of rural marketing, and finally the rural marketing mix. Along with the 4Ps, there are 4As in rural markets that we will see in today's class. Fine. Let us begin with socio-economic position. Majority of rural people have low purchasing power and per capita income. As all of you know, India is totally dependent on monsoon, and most of us are having the occupation of agriculture. That is 68% of the total population is involving in agricultural activities, and their major source of income is agriculture. So if the monsoon is good, then the income will be good. If the monsoon troubles, then that will definitely impact on the economy of the country. So, majority of rural people have low purchasing power and per capita income. Yes, as I told you, because of the agriculture, the income is fluctuating. A farmer in a year, he will get two yields. So depends upon the monsoon, the yields size will be decided. So that's what the fluctuating income will result in low purchasing power and per capita income. More than 60% have income less than 25,000 rupees per annum. So these people who are residing in rural area, their annual income is 25,000 and their size is of 60%. And then about 14% have income greater than 50,000 rupees. Again, there are some people who are having greater income of rupees 50,000 per year. So if you add 60% plus 14%, then 74% of the people on an average 25,000 rupees or 30,000 rupees per annum, they are having annual income. Low disposable income. As they have to purchase the fertilizers, seeds, pesticides, and give rent to the tractors, trailer, and then pay wages to the laborers for agricultural activities, they will get less money with their income. That's what you will find low disposable income in their total income. Low literacy level. It is estimated that rural India has a literacy level of 36% as compared to 62% in the urban area. So this data is of 2001. Now in 2011, it is increased. But though it is increased, comparatively, it is less than urban areas. In urban areas, the literacy level is more than 70% right now. Fine. Low standard of living. Low income, low purchasing power, overall social and economic backwardness lead to low standard of living. As the income of the people comes down, definitely the standard of living will comes down. Both of them are proportionate to each other. If your income is more, then your standard of living will be higher. If your income is less, then your standard of living will be low. That we know. So as in the rural area, the income, purchasing power, and overall social and economic backwardness led to low standard of living. In general, a rural consumer spends less on non-food items. Absolutely, when you have a less disposable income with you, most of your income will be spent on food items, and your priority towards non-food items will be less, because there will be little amount of money remains with you, then you will not concentrate on non-food items. Then rural employment pattern. Male. Sector wise, percentage of share in employment in the year 1987, percentage share in employment in 2004. So agriculture earlier 75% of the people were involving in agricultural activities during 1987. During 2004, it came down to 67%. This information is very interesting. Look at this information. The people who were involving in agriculture in 1987 were 75%, whereas in 2004 it is reduced to 67%. Almost 8% decline you will find in the employment of agriculture. The people who are involving in agricultural activities has reduced. There are several reasons. Maybe because of people find agriculture as a non-profit employment, and there is no assurance or guarantee of income in agriculture. That might be the reasons they might have shifted from agricultural to other employment. Then transport and communication. Only 2% of the people, rural people in 1987 were involving in transport and communication. Whereas in 2004, the percentage is increased to 8. The people who were involving in transport and communication activities, from 2 to it was increased to 8, almost 400% increase in this one. As there is a fixed wage or salary available in these areas, people might have shifted from agriculture to transport and communication. This may be the understanding. Fine. Then trade and hotels. Earlier, 5% of the total rural area were involving in trade and hotels. Now it is increased to 7%. Again, the people from agriculture might have migrated from agricultural to trade and hotels. Then construction. In the field of construction, earlier the rural people were only 4% in 1987, but in 2004 it is increased to 7%, almost double it is increased. So the construction, or you can call it as a real estate sector, which is booming now, and there are a lot of employment available in this field. People, especially the rural people, got attracted towards this field and they jumped from agriculture to construction. Then manufacturing industry. Earlier, only 7% of people in 1987 were involving in manufacturing process. Maybe the rural based manufacturing processes like small scale industries and handicrafts, etc. But in 2004, it is increased to 8%. There is a 1% hike in the manufacturing sector, maybe because of the encouragement from the central government as well as state government and various projects, financial support, subsidies, waive off, etc. might have supported them, and they might have shifted from agricultural to manufacturing. Look at these 5 sectors: agriculture, transport, trade, construction and manufacturing. You will come to know most of the people shifted from agriculture to other activities, whereas other activities have increased their size from existing. Potentiality. Now let us check why rural market is always said as a potential one, why MNCs are saying go rural. What are the reasons behind it? Some of the reasons behind it are large population. 742 million Indians consisting of 138 million households reside in 6,38,365 villages as per 2001 census. So 74 crore people were living in 6 lakh odd villages. Just imagine 74 crore in 2001. Now it might have reached 85 crores in 2011 census. Fine. So 84 crore means we are 132 crores. Almost 60+% of the people are residing in rural areas. It constitutes about 73% of the total Indian population and 12% of the world population. World population right now it is 700 crore plus, and Indian population 132 crore. So 73% of Indian population and 12% of the world population is contributed by Indian rural markets. Just imagine the potential, how much potential it is. That most of the segments are untapped in rural areas. So it becomes an attractive segment for the MNCs as well as the marketers. Despite the rural-urban migration, the rural areas continues to be the place of majority of Indians. Though there is a migration taking place from rural to urban, people are moving or migrating. Then also the majority of Indians till today, they are residing in rural areas only. Growth of market. The market has been growing at a rate of 3 to 4% annually, adding more than 1 million new consumers every year. If you look at the rural market, how it is growing, every year there is a growth of 3 to 4%. If you look at this chart, villages have been the engine of growth. Between 2001 and 2011, there is a comparison of increase in homes using two-wheelers, LPG cylinders, banking service, television sets, mosaic or tile floors. Yeah, if you observe these products and compare it, the sales of these products in rural and urban, just check it. So in rural it is 161%, whereas in urban it is only 110. LPG cylinders 144% of growth you can find, whereas in rural urban area it is only 99. Banking services 119% growth, and in urban it is only 105. Television sets in rural 114, and in urban it is 75%. It means almost near to double growth you will find in rural areas. Mosaic or tile floors, it was 85% in rural, whereas in it's 71% in urban area. Just look at these things. There is a tremendous growth you can find in rural areas. That's what it is called as engine of growth, especially in villages as compared to urban. And it seems to be urban markets are getting saturated, and there is a need of looking at the new segment, and that new segment can be a rural market. Fine. This is all about potentiality, large population, growth of market, and rural employment pattern, and then socio-economic position, low literacy level, standard of living. Fine. Let us go to the next slide, that is the evolution of rural marketing. How these rural markets evolved over a period of time. There are 4 phases you can see in the evolution of rural marketing. The first phase prior to the 1960s, the second phase 60s to 80s, the third phase 1990s, the fourth phase 2000 to present. Let us see what happened in these phases and how the rural market evolved over a period of time. In the phase 1 prior to the 1960s, marketing of rural products in rural and urban markets and agricultural inputs to rural market, a totally unorganized market. So there was a separation of marketing the products in rural and urban markets. Most of the companies thought that in rural markets only agricultural inputs can be marketed and the remaining products can be sold in urban market, as the rural people will visit urban areas to purchase their domestic requirements. A totally unorganized market. It was totally unorganized market, as in the rural areas also there were some shops or retailers who were selling the daily requirements, but the field was, or the sector was unorganized. Fine. And in the second phase, 1960s to 1980s, green revolution ushered in scientific farming practices, resulting in exponential growth in agricultural production. So between 60s to 80s, Green Revolution. Green Revolution was proposed by Jawaharlal Nehru to achieve the growth in agricultural sector. So they invested a lot of money and imported a lot of technology from other countries, and irrigation was given a lot of importance. And in this way, Green Revolution ushered in scientific farming practices. Tractors came, drillers came, and drip irrigation came. All those new technologies were entered into Indian market, and that was resulted in potential growth in agricultural production. Earlier, using the traditional form of equipments was not resulting in good yield. But when the adoption of scientific farming practices was used, there was an exponential growth in agricultural production. White Revolution gave a fillip to cooperative movement. So White Revolution also took place during this phase. White Revolution is also known as Milk Revolution. The father of White Revolution was Varghese Kurian, who was passed away recently. He was the person who revolutionized this milk industry in the form of cooperative societies. In Gujarat, in Anand Nagar, in Anand, he started that cooperative society. Later, it is developed and it is spreaded across the country. Now it is known as our Amul. Fine. Establishment of distribution networks by FMCG companies. The big giants like HUL, ITC, Procter & Gamble, Calvin Klein, they started establishing the distribution channel networks in the rural areas during this tenure, and the companies, multinational companies, local companies, national companies started entering into the rural areas. They started establishing their distribution channels in the form of retailers, wholesalers, distributors, not in rural area exactly, near to rural areas, and some of them were in rural area also. In phase 3, 1990s, increased rural thirst and strengthening of local governance resulted in socio-economic progress. As we discussed during demographic profile, under that socio-economic conditions in rural areas, there we have seen the empowerment of local governance in terms of Panchayat Raj that was resulted in economic progress among all the people, whether it's a upper class or lower class, whatever the class you call them, they started becoming stronger economically. Growth in consumables and durables. Yeah, due to the adoption of the scientific farming, agriculture became attractive and farmers started gaining income. Then their disposable income also increased. So there was a growth in consumables and durables because of this reason. One of the example I would like to quote here, 2 to 3 years back in Tumkur, there was a huge onion crop we got, and at that time onion price was increased like anything. And I tell you friends, the sales of Hero Honda in one showroom, earlier they used to take 1 month to sell one load of Hero Hondas, but during this period, within 10 days, they finished their one load of Hero Hondas. Most of the purchases were from farmers. Then phase 4, 2000 to present. Going rural becomes the mantra even for high value products and services. Yeah, the urban markets were getting saturated and there is no charm remained in the urban market. The market has started looking at the rural areas, and that became the mantra for the companies to enter into the rural markets. Some of the examples are HUL, they entered, Procter & Gamble they entered, ITC they entered, and other companies also they entered. It is because there is a huge potential they found in rural markets. Government initiatives of rural loan waiver, employment and rural infrastructure development provide further acceleration. There was a boost or acceleration of financial support to the rural people in the form of loan waiver. and employment, subsidies. These were the reasons behind the increase in income of the rural people. Rural marketing mix. Friends, as all of us know, there are 4 P's in the marketing. Now in rural marketing, we have 4 A's. The 4 P's of marketing were price, product, place and promotion. And in rural markets, 4 A's plays a vital role. Those 4 A's are affordability, availability, awareness and acceptability. Let us see one by one what are these 4 A's. Affordability. Rural consumers are driven by value proposition and not by cost. As they are having low income and per capita income of the rural area is less, the rural consumers always driven by value proposition and not by the cost. They always prefer the products which are affordable. Small size, small pack products they prefer. Availability. Single largest challenge for markets in rural markets. Marketers in rural markets. Yeah, as I told you, the rural markets are scattered across the country and it is very difficult to access all the rural areas easily. Maybe transportation problem, logistics problems occurs when you want to reach them. So that is the single largest challenge, making the products available in the rural areas. Paucity of data for villages and small towns is a hindrance. Yeah, data regarding the households, regarding their purchasing power, regarding their consumer behavior is not available, and that become a hindrance for the marketers to make the product available. But right now, the major brands are available in rural areas also. Awareness, media reach is increasing. Yeah, if we observe the media reach today and compare it with during 1990s, 80s, there is a huge awareness level among the rural consumers about the products and services due to the media reach, especially the revolution in mass media, internet connections to the rural areas made the rural areas to access everything. And the awareness of the products and services are also increased in the rural areas. Need for specific messages aimed at the rural psyche. Yeah, there was a need of developing the advertisements in such a way that the language, the message, the characteristics used in the advertisement should be suitable for the rural areas. If you go with an English language advertisement in rural area, then it will not work. You have to use the local language, local culture, local values. If you use in your advertisements, definitely it will become an effective advertisement. Use of alternative rural means of communication. As some small villages may not be having televisions, may not be having internet, in those areas, alternative rural means of communications can be used. The best alternative means of communication is radio and newspapers. Fine. Then the 4th A is acceptability. Rural consumers look for productive assets. In urban market, most products can be sold along with prestige, ego, etc. But in rural areas, they look for productive assets and they are more worried about customer value. Specific needs should be looked into while designing products for rural consumers. Absolutely. If you are selling a technical products to the rural area, maybe a washing machine, then the instruction of that washing machine should be in local languages, and there is a demo required for the rural people, how to operate it, how it functions, that can be demonstrated and told them. So these are the 4 A's of rural marketing, and this completes your first module.